This lesson you will learn how to write net ionic equations from chemical reactions, as shown in this example. Let's examine some reactions and learn how to write net ionic equations. The first thing you want to do is to complete the reaction and balance it out. Next, you need to assign the aggregate states of each compound in the reaction. For this, you can use solubility rules or a solubility table. I covered solubility rules in one of my lessons, so you can check it out. In this case, both sodium hydroxide and magnesium chloride are soluble in water, so we write AQ. Next, let's look at the products. Sodium chloride is soluble, however, magnesium hydroxide is not, so we write letter S, which stands for solid. Let's proceed with ionic equations. All compounds marked aqua will dissociate into the ions in the solution, so we write them as ions. First, write the ions of each compound. So for sodium hydroxide, we have Na plus and OH minus ions. And because we had coefficient 2 before the compound, we write the same number before each ion. For the second reactant, we have Mg2 plus and Cl minus ions. Notice the chemical formula is MgCl2. However, in the ionic equation, we write 2Cl-. Because we write how many ions we have in the reaction, the Cl2- ion doesn't exist. After the reaction, sodium chloride dissociates into Na plus and Cl- ions, and like with the sodium hydroxide, we write 2 before each ion. Lastly, because magnesium hydroxide is a solid, we do not change it. Next, compare both equation sides and cross out the same ions on both reaction sides. So we have chloride and sodium ions, which we call spectator ions. They are not involved with the reaction. The last step is to remove the spectator ions from the complete ionic equation to get the net ionic equation. What remains is the actual chemical change. Each written equation has its own name. The first one is a molecular equation, the second one is a complete ionic equation, and the third one is a net ionic equation. Let us repeat all steps with a different reaction. First, write the product for the reaction, then balance the equation, and for each compound, assign their state of matter. You can stop the video and then check the answer. Copper 2 hydroxide is insoluble, hydrochloric acid is, and so is copper 2 chloride, and water we always assign as L, which stands for liquid. Now let's write a complete ionic equation. We don't change the first reactant because it's solid, and from HCl we get H plus and Cl minus ions. Do not forget to add coefficient 2 to both of these ions. The same goes for copper 2 chloride. We add 2 in front of the chloride anion, and the water formula doesn't change. Lastly, to write net ionic equation, find the spectator ions and cross them out. In this case, it is chloride ions. So our final equation looks like this. Solid copper 2 hydroxide plus 2H plus AQ, and we get CO2 plus AQ plus 2H2O liquid. If you have a difficult time writing the reaction products, please check my video, where in 7 minutes you will learn all the rules on how to write them. Ammonium carbonate reacts with sulfuric acid. Let's write the products and assign their state of matter. So we get NH4 times 2 SO4AQ plus CO2 gas plus H2O liquid. Also, our reactants are both soluble. And now, for the complete ionic equation, we split AQ compounds into the ions. Before the reaction, we get 2NH4 plus AQ plus CO32 minus AQ plus 2H plus AQ plus SO4 2 minus AQ. And after the reaction, we get 2NH4 plus AQ plus SO4 2 minus AQ plus CO2 gas plus H2O liquid. Lastly, To write a net ionic equation, find the spectator ions and cross them out. In this case, it is ammonium and sulfate ions. Our net ionic equation should look like this: 2H plus AQ plus CO32 minus AQ, reaction arrow, CO2 gas plus H2O liquid. You can also write net ionic equations not for only double displacement reaction, but also for single displacement reactions. Let's look at the example, where sodium reacts with HCl. The products are sodium chloride and hydrogen gas. Sodium is a metal, so it's solid. Hydrochloric acid is AQ, and same goes for NaCl. And H2 is a gas. Now, let us write ions. 2Na solid plus 2H plus AQ plus 2Cl minus AQ, reaction arrow, 2Na plus AQ plus 2Cl minus AQ plus H2 gas. Spectator ions are 2Cl minus, so we cross them out, and we are left with 2NaS plus 2H plus AQ, reaction arrow, 2Na plus AQ plus H2 gas. Like always, I will leave a few exercises for you, and you can check the answers in the comment section below.